In the shadows of Florence, 5 centuries ago, a man sat in exile, his quill scratching against parchment as he penned truths so piercing they would echo through the corridors of time. Machiavelli, stripped of power and position, discovered something profound in his solitude. The most dangerous enemies are not those who oppose you openly, but those who smile while they sharpen their knives behind your back. Tonight, we journey into the depths of human nature, where masks are worn not for celebration, but for deception. We explore a truth that might disturb you, challenge you, perhaps even liberate you. Because in a world where authenticity has become revolutionary, understanding the anatomy of hypocrisy isn't just wisdom, it's survival. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture someone in your life who speaks of love while harboring resentment, who preaches kindness while practicing cruelty when no one is watching. Feel that gnawing sensation in your chest, that intuitive knowledge that something is deeply wrong. Machiavelli would tell you to trust that feeling. He would whisper across the centuries, "The lion cannot protect himself from traps, and the fox cannot defend himself from wolves." Therefore, it is necessary to be a fox to discover the traps and a lion to terrify the wolves. The hypocrite is perhaps the most sophisticated predator in the human ecosystem. Unlike the honest enemy who declares war with trumpets and banners, the hypocrite wages psychological warfare with a smile. They are the wolves in sheep's clothing, the poison disguised as medicine, the darkness masquerading as light. And Machiavelli, in his unflinching examination of power and human nature, understood that recognizing and neutralizing such individuals is not cruelty, it is self-preservation. But what exactly is hypocrisy, and why does it cut so deep into the human soul? Hypocrisy is the practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not conform. It is the gap between professed values and actual actions, between the public persona and the private reality. When someone speaks of integrity while lying, when they preach compassion while causing harm, when they advocate for justice while practicing favoritism. This is the hypocrisy that Machiavelli identified as one of the most corrosive forces in human relationships. The psychological damage inflicted by hypocrites runs deeper than mere disappointment. When we encounter authentic cruelty, our minds can process it, categorize it, and respond accordingly. But hypocrisy creates cognitive dissonance, a psychological state where conflicting beliefs and behaviors exist simultaneously. It's like trying to solve a puzzle where the pieces constantly change shape. Your mind struggles to reconcile what you see with what you're told, what you experience with what you're promised. Consider the parent who demands honesty from their child while lying to their spouse, the friend who speaks of loyalty while gossiping behind your back, the leader who preaches equality while hoarding privilege. These individuals don't just break rules, they break trust in the very concept of truth itself. They erode our faith in authentic communication and genuine connection. Machiavelli observed that hypocrites are particularly dangerous because they operate in the spaces between truth and lies. In the gray areas where intentions become murky and motivations remain hidden. They are masters of plausible deniability, always maintaining just enough truth in their words to deflect accusations while ensuring just enough deception to serve their hidden agendas. The question that haunts many of us is this: how do we protect ourselves from such individuals without becoming cynical? How do we maintain our own authenticity while recognizing and defending against those who would exploit our good faith? Machiavelli's answer was both simple and profound, since love and fear can hardly exist together. If we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved. This doesn't mean we should become cruel or manipulative ourselves. Rather, it means we must develop what psychologists now call healthy boundaries. The ability to recognize when someone's actions don't align with their words, and the courage to respond accordingly. It means understanding that true kindness sometimes requires firmness, that genuine compassion occasionally demands confrontation. The process of destroying hypocrites, as Machiavelli might frame it, isn't about revenge or retaliation. It's about dismantling their ability to deceive and manipulate through the simple but powerful act of exposing truth. Light, after all, is the greatest enemy of shadows. When we consistently hold people accountable for their actions, when we refuse to accept words without corresponding deeds, when we call out inconsistencies with calm but unwavering clarity, we strip hypocrites of their primary weapon: confusion. Think about a relationship in your own life where you felt this dissonance. Perhaps it was a colleague who spoke beautifully about teamwork, while consistently undermining others' efforts. Maybe it was a friend who proclaimed their support while subtly sabotaging your confidence. Or a family member who demanded respect while showing none in return. How did it feel to exist in that space of contradiction? How did it affect your sense of reality, your trust in your own perceptions? The emotional toll of dealing with hypocrites is immense because they force us to question not just their integrity, but our own judgment. They make us doubt our ability to read people, to trust our instincts, to navigate social relationships safely. This is why Machiavelli's insight remains so relevant. Recognizing and responding to hypocrisy isn't just about them. It's about preserving our own psychological well-being and maintaining our connection to truth. But here's where Machiavelli's wisdom becomes truly transformational. He understood that the greatest defense against external hypocrisy is internal authenticity. When we are genuine in our own thoughts, words, and actions, when we align our private beliefs with our public behaviors, we develop an almost supernatural ability to detect incongruence in others. Authenticity becomes a form of psychological radar, allowing us to sense when someone's emotional frequency doesn't match their stated intentions. This alignment within ourselves creates what we might call emotional clarity, like a tuning fork that vibrates at a pure frequency. An authentic person can immediately detect when someone else is operating at a false frequency. The hypocrite's words may sound right, but something in their energy, their body language, their micro-expressions reveals the discord between their inner reality and outer presentation. Developing this sensitivity requires practice and courage. It means learning to trust your intuition even when it contradicts what someone is explicitly telling you. It means paying attention to patterns of behavior rather than individual incidents. Most importantly, it means accepting that some people will reveal themselves to be different from who they initially appeared to be, and that this revelation is information, not judgment. When Machiavelli wrote about destroying hypocrites, he wasn't advocating for personal vendettas or dramatic confrontations. He was describing something far more elegant and powerful: the systematic exposure of truth through consistent, principled action. When we refuse to enable deceptive behavior, when we insist on accountability, when we maintain our own integrity regardless of others' choices, we create an environment where hypocrisy cannot thrive. Consider how this might look in practice. Instead of arguing with someone who consistently breaks their promises, you simply stop making plans that depend on their reliability. Rather than trying to convince a manipulative person to change, you limit the information and access they have to your life. Instead of confronting a hypocrite with angry accusations, you calmly point out discrepancies between their words and actions, then adjust your behavior accordingly. This approach requires a fundamental shift in perspective. Instead of focusing on changing others, we focus on changing our own responses. Instead of trying to expose hypocrites to the world, we simply stop allowing them to deceive us. This is the kind of power Machiavelli understood. Not the power to control others, but the power to control our own participation in dysfunctional dynamics. The beauty of this approach lies in its sustainability. When we operate from a place of authenticity and clear boundaries, we don't deplete our emotional resources fighting battles we cannot win. We don't waste energy trying to convince others to be different. Instead, we invest that energy in creating relationships and environments that support genuine connection and mutual respect. But what about forgiveness? What about compassion? Surely Machiavelli's seemingly harsh stance contradicts our desire to see the good in people, to offer second chances, to believe in the possibility of change. Here's where his wisdom becomes even more nuanced. True compassion sometimes requires consequences. Real love occasionally demands difficult truth-telling. Authentic forgiveness doesn't mean enabling continued harmful behavior. Machiavelli understood that allowing hypocrites to continue their deception without consequence isn't kindness, it's enabling. It's participating in their self-destruction while sacrificing our own well-being on the altar of misguided tolerance. Sometimes the most loving thing we can do for someone is to stop rescuing them from the natural consequences of their choices. This doesn't mean we become cold or calculating. It means we become wise. We learn to distinguish between supporting someone's growth and enabling their dysfunction. We develop the discernment to know when someone is genuinely struggling to align their actions with their values, and when they're simply using our compassion as a cover for continued manipulation. The person who is genuinely trying to change will welcome accountability. They'll appreciate your honesty even when it's uncomfortable. They'll show remorse through changed behavior, not just words. The hypocrite, on the other hand, will resist accountability, deflect responsibility, and often attempt to make you feel guilty for setting boundaries or pointing out inconsistencies. In our modern world, where social media allows for carefully curated personas, and where public image often takes precedence over private character, Machiavelli's insights become even more relevant. We live in an age of performance, where people can craft elaborate false narratives about their lives, their values, and their intentions. The gap between online presence and offline reality creates countless opportunities for hypocrisy to flourish. Yet this same technology that enables deception also provides tools for verification. We can observe people's behavior patterns over time, cross-reference their claims with their actions, to make informed decisions about who deserves our trust and energy. The key is developing the wisdom to use these tools discerningly, rather than becoming paranoid or cynical. The ultimate goal isn't to destroy people, but to destroy illusions. We seek to see clearly, to understand accurately, and to respond wisely. When we strip away the masks and pretenses, when we insist on authenticity in our relationships, when we refuse to participate in elaborate deceptions, we create space for genuine connection to flourish. This process of seeing and responding to truth is transformational for everyone involved. For us, it develops emotional intelligence, strengthens our intuition, and builds our capacity for authentic relationship. For others, it provides an opportunity to either step into greater integrity or reveal their true character. Either outcome serves truth, and truth, as uncomfortable as it might sometimes be, is always the foundation of genuine healing and growth. Machiavelli's message across the centuries isn't one of cynicism or cruelty, but of clear-eyed realism coupled with strategic wisdom. He reminds us that understanding human nature in all its complexity and contradiction is essential for navigating life successfully. He teaches us that recognizing manipulation isn't pessimistic, it's practical. Protecting ourselves from deception isn't selfish, it's necessary. As we close this exploration, remember that the greatest victory over hypocrisy isn't achieved through grand gestures or dramatic confrontations. It's won through the quiet, consistent practice of authenticity. When we align our thoughts, words, and actions, when we speak truth with compassion, when we maintain our integrity regardless of others' choices, we become forces of light in a world that sometimes prefers shadows. The hypocrites in your life lose their power not when you attack them, but when you stop believing their illusions. They become irrelevant not when you expose them to others, but when you protect yourself from their influence. They are destroyed not through external force, but through the simple, powerful act of refusing to participate in their deception. Your journey toward authentic relationship and genuine connection begins with a single choice: the choice to value truth over comfort, clarity over confusion, and integrity over image. In making this choice, you honor not just Machiavelli's wisdom, but your own deepest knowing about what it means to live with dignity and purpose. If this message has touched something deep within you, if you feel called to embrace greater authenticity in your relationships, if you're ready to step away from the exhausting dance of deception and into the clarity of truth, share your commitment in the comments below. Let these words be your declaration. I choose my peace.